Hello everybody, and welcome to another speedrun commentary, this time for Lethal Company. Last time we did Sekiro and I did a more edited style. I felt like it was a little harder to follow the run, so I've decided we're gonna go back to doing things a little bit the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna work in some clips here and there, as you'll see, but yeah, let's get to our first day on the job. We are going to Assurance by typing ACID into the computer, and as you can see, you can just run right out of the ship. And if you make a harsh turn, you could be on the pipe, and then boom, 12 seconds in, we're already in the fire escape. So what is the goal of this run? What am I trying to do? I want to reach 6 quotas completed, and I'm doing it solo. So my goal is to reach 1,000 quota, as you've surely seen in the title and the thumbnail. To do that, we need to find, ideally on Assurance, we're looking for 4 items that we can carry. We want to find the highest value items that we can, ideally, but also this being a speedrun, we want to find them as quickly as possible. So you can see here I found an air horn, which is pretty high value for Assurance. I found a stop sign, which can be high value, but a little bit heavy. Find a tea kettle on the way back here, and then bottles of the big items that you can carry, the V-type engine, the big axle, and the bottles. The bottles tend to be higher value on average. You can see there that I dropped down and a beehive tried to get me. Now, the reason I was able to react to that in time is because I have succumbed to that many times. There have been many times where I've dropped off that ledge and instantly a beehive got me. So thankfully, I was able to react in time because we got a pretty nice haul here. Now you might have seen there was some quicksand on the ground. Every time you go to Assurance in the beginning of the run, it's always rainy the first day. And Assurance being a bunch of sand on the ground, it's easy for it to become quicksand. Got to be careful about that. So we manage our stamina, we drop our stuff, and we are done. Day 1. That's a pretty good haul, honestly. That's a pretty good haul. 175. The company actually buys at 53% on day 2 and 77% on day 3. So it's 169 consistently, because it's always 130 for your first quota. It's 169. So technically here, I don't even need to go back into the facility. I could just land the ship, take it back up, and immediately go to the company building, and we can get a super speedy start. And as you see, that might be an enticing offer because it's eclipsed, but we aren't afraid of no monsters. It's fine. I decided to go back in because later in the run, it gets a little bit harder to reach the quotas. So I like getting a head start. I like getting a little bit of a buffer to work with. So let's get in and see what we can find. And in this run, I found a cash register. That is of the, if you can see at the top next to 6 quota, of 144 runs, that is the first cash register I have ever found, which is an extremely high value item. It tends to be, I think it's like 140-ish that it tends to be, which is extremely high value. Red soda cans are a bit more variable, but they do tend to be high value, and the treasure, or the, sorry, not treasure, gift box could be anything. Usually something decently high value. So we can see another beehive over there. You see that I see it, so take a little bit of a time loss here just to move around it. That's just the nature of the run. Sometimes you get unlucky. It's a little scarier when it's eclipsed because I'm trying to manage my stamina here to make sure if the worm comes out of the ground that I can run away from it, and also being careful if there's any dogs so I can crouch and make less sound. You can see there, that's the bird that you have to, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time I actually saw one in a speedrun. Pretty sure I have to yell at this bird, and I had my mic muted for this, so I was really hoping the bird just wasn't gonna bother me. You could see me looking over at it, a little afraid. I'm like, bro, I got this cash register. I really don't want you to screw this up for me. Fortunately, the bird does not screw it up for me. Able to get the cash register on, even though he gives me a last little jump scare right there. And then you can see that I'm moving the items over here. The reason I'm doing that is I know that I already have enough to go to the company right now and turn in these items and be totally golden, because all I need is 169. Now, the cash register and everything else, I looked at it, it's worth 199. I got all of that. Our second quota is probably gonna be around the 230, 240 range, so I'm like, all right, I basically have already made the first 2 quotas just in 2 days, So instead of going to assurance for a third day and giving myself like an insane buffer, I'm like, nah, we got an amazing start. Let's take advantage of it. So we're gonna go to the company building and we're going to sell these items. And then as quickly as we can, we'll get back on the ship. And then that's going to be quota 1 already done. Quota 1 speedruns are quite interesting because the category relies on getting things like a cash register and just getting quota day 1. I think it's 246 that you need to be able to sell on day 2 and make quota at 53%. So I never got that lucky on day 1. I'm sure you have to run a crazy amount to be able to do that. You can see there, score 134 because we had 175, so we're golden. So now we just gotta wait until the quota screen achieved pops up. You type in ass and then C, and we're good to go. Yeah, this run is all about ass and tits. Sorry for being crass, but it's true. You spend the first 3 quotas on assurance, and then after that, we are going to be spending the final 3 on Titan, which is significantly more scary than assurance. Assurance, really, you don't run into anything too scary. Every now and again, you might see a monster. I mean, I say you don't run into anything too scary, and I definitely have a clip that is an enemy spawning right in front of me at like 8:30. So like the time has barely even started. I think I'm not even a minute into the run and it gets me. Unfortunately, it looks like here I'm having trouble finding any scrap. Scrap is consistent. There are rooms that have scrap spawners, quote unquote, and they determine where you're going to find items. Hallways cannot spawn scrap, so hallways are bad. You want to be finding rooms as quickly as possible because the majority of the rooms can spawn scrap. And that's how scrap ends up sometimes in hallways, is they have a radius. So if the radius is very large from the room, sometimes scrap will show up in hallways, but predominantly you're really looking for rooms. And most predominantly, we're looking for loot rooms, things that have like wooden pallets, or the big room with the hole in the middle that has lockers. Those have their own scrap spawners, so you can find a lot more loot. This time I didn't get so lucky. I only found bottles, but I made the decision that since we weren't finding anything quickly, rather than continuing to search and knowing that we've already pretty much made quota, there's no reason for me to spend a ton of time looking, because maybe I'd get lucky and find something, maybe I wouldn't, but we're just spending more time doing that, and that's not fruitful considering we've already made quota. So I can go in here for a second day, as I likely will, just because I'm gonna have to come down and land either way. I may as well go into the facility, see if I get lucky, see if I can build myself up that buffer for that third quota. That's gonna be more in like the 300 something range. So I definitely would like to give myself some breathing room on that one. So this is a good room. This room almost always spawns something and has a lot of wooden pallets, so you can get very lucky with a lot of loot. See right here, I get a toy cube and I get some bottles right away. I think ideally I would find something else here, at least one more item. Really wanted to take away 4 if possible. See here, I find a big bolt. Not a high value item, but it's at least something to take with me. And I think on my own personal judgment here, with how long it takes to get through this big room, I would probably go back now. I don't think there's any point in continuing to look, because once again, I could find something high value or just in another item, but the longer I move away, or the more I move away from the fire escape, the longer it's taking me to get back to the ship, the more time I'm spending, and I've already made quota, so there's really no reason to be risking anything right now. And not to mention that, it's also flooding at the moment, so I know that it's going to take me a little bit longer to get back to the ship. This is a good time to mention that there is tech where you turn your character around and you keep dropping the heaviest item you have. It can make your stamina come back faster, and it can make you move faster, because in Lethal Company, you move slower the heavier you are, and your stamina regens slower the heavier you are as well. I chose not to do it because I'm not very good at doing it, and I feel like if you're not good at the tech, you just end up wasting more time than you would have saved. So yeah, I don't do it too much. So right now, I think with this, we grabbed probably what, like I would say 70, 80 in value at most. 100, okay, more than I thought. Kind of discounted the bottles being as valuable as they are. 50's not bad at all. So that's a solid 100. I think here, it's likely that I'm gonna have to land, because I think to reach this quota without the third day, we would need to trade in all of this, maybe even more. So that's not really worth it. I think since I'm gonna land, I likely strategically here would want to go in, see if I can find anything really quickly, and if I can't, just bail. If I can, then, you know, lucky me, I get a bigger buffer. And here we go. This is a good room. This is a room that has a lot of pallets. A lot of things can spawn here. And as you can see, I get pretty lucky. Brass bell is pretty high value. I am a little annoyed at myself because I could see on one of the pallets over there was a hair dryer, and that is one of the most high value items that you can get on assurance that isn't one of the big heavy like cash register sort of things. Usually I think that's worth like 70 to 80, so I'm a little bummed that I didn't grab that, but hey, you can tell that when I went in, I was trying as quickly as I could to make sure that I just, you know, grabbed everything and was good to go. But yeah, now we've got our second quota, so we're just going to go to the company building. We're going to safely sell at 100% the stuff that is in the front of the ship, and I think we probably have around 200 worth of scrap to take into the third quota. So we're looking quite good at the moment. Yep, 206 on the money. It's a good time to talk about some other dangers. So I've talked about enemies, you know, enemies spawning in front of me. I had quota 6 where I really needed like 500 worth of scrap from Titan. It was the last day and there was a nutcracker camping the room. That was brutal. I had another case where a zombie appeared, and you can see how my camera shakes because it actually, like, I practically jumped out of my chair and I start honking the horn at it because I was afraid. I've lost some runs badly on Titan. While that monster spawning in front of me was like a niche case on assurance, Titan can have some monsters, you know, spawn straight away. It can be quite scary. Especially because some of the worst monsters can spawn there too, or some of the hardest to deal with. Other ways that I have suffered in runs, gravity, I would say, is definitely one of the bigger ones. I am quite terrible at jumping on beams in this, even if I see an item and I think I'm jumping. Doesn't go quite well. Then there's instances where, like on Titan, where you have to jump down the stairs. There's a very strategic way to jump down so that you don't take too much fall damage, but I was so enticed with all the loot that I had, I just completely forgot about the fall damage. There are other cases where I was trying to do a small time save jump off the stairs and just fall into an abyss. It's just completely a mess. Quota 2 reached, and we're 12 minutes in, so I have definitely had faster runs to quota 2, but you know, again, I'm trying to give myself a buffer because on Titan you can get very unlucky in terms of where the scrap spawns, in terms of the enemies you might encounter, in terms of the weather, eclipses. So yeah, okay, this room right here is great. Usually when you enter one of these rooms with the I don't know what you would call them, not dressers, bookcases, good lord, you know what I'm talking about, and then the wooden pallets, usually you find a lot of items. So you can see here, I immediately found a full load and I'm like, all right, done, I'm out of here, which is beautiful. I think it's raining again. Fortunately, it isn't stormy. Stormy weather can be quite difficult to deal with due to lightning. I generally dealt with lightning pretty well. I think I had one run that I lost to lightning, and I was very lucky that I never got a random act of lightning. There are the bolts that hit metal items, but then there are also random bolts, and in just playing with friends, I have 100% gotten hit by one of those random bolts. Fortunately, that never happened to me. I should mention too, in playing with friends, you know, I'd only actually played Lethal Company for maybe about 10 hours with friends, and I was really just god awful at it. I would just die so much. I was definitely that, if you played this with friends, I was that guy who would just constantly like die toward the beginning, and then I would be dead for like 10 minutes while my friends were like, huh, yeah, I wonder what happened to him. Oh yeah, he died. He fell in another hole again. So part of my wanting to speedrun this was I wanted to build some sort of better understanding of the game, better understanding of how to survive. And I can't say that I completely got there. As you can see, it took me 144 runs. And I only completed 2 total runs out of that 144, but Hey, you know what? It's hard. It's hard. You got to make it to what day? You got to do 18 days technically of going in and getting scrap, and it's hard to survive all of those all by yourself. Because if you die by yourself, you know it's over. You lose the scrap you got. So this is a pretty terrible start, because these big like angled hallways that were added in one of the later patches tend to not lead to anything ideal. But you know, I say, okay, I'm gonna go down this one hallway, see what I get, and I got 2 brass bells, which is insane. This is one of the highest value small items that you can find on Assurance, and getting 2 right off the bat is a thing of beauty. Now, I think that I should choose to just leave here. You know, this is the 150 right here. I've already got plenty of scrap, and I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna leave, because the brass bells are pretty heavy, I should say as well. If there was another room that I could see that was really close, I would probably go explore it. But because I had that, you know, big angled hallway with the big water heater, I easily could have, you know, spun my tires and gotten nothing at all. So I'd rather just save the time and get on and moving. So I would say, other than bees, quicksands, enemies, gravity, lightning, we're gonna see coming up soon on Titan. You saw me do the eclipse here, and it didn't seem bad at all. I had that one, you know, bitch bird that you just gotta yell at a little bit, and it's fine. I did have some unfortunate circumstances on Assurance. There was a case where I had a dog that was walking right near me, and I could not like move quickly, and then a worm spawned right under me, and I just, what the hell do you even do in that case, you know? But most of the time eclipses really are tough on Titan, and that's because of the nature of Titan being one that you have to you know, walk up the stairs. If there's giants and if there's dogs, you're just in a bad situation. So you know, there were cases where I'd walk out the door at Titan when it was eclipsed, and a dog would just be right there waiting for me. And then there's another case where, you know, I was going up the stairs and there's 2 dogs on the stairs themselves. Like I don't really know how to work around that, especially when you're trying to be speedy. You can see here, I think I have one of those aforementioned birds on the outside, but I already have all the scrap that I need to meet the next quota and then some, so there's really no reason for me to take any risks here. I'm on a good pace. So we're just gonna go to the company building, we're gonna sell, and that is the Assurance section of the run completely done. Now it's time for the tits. We are gonna go to Titan. You don't have to worry in the beginning of the run. The reaching the 3 quotas will give you enough money to get to Titan. The only time you actually need to worry about how much money you have to get to Titan is on the second quota, because, or sorry, not second quota, 4th quota, the first quota for Titan, because you should probably have about $150 unless you're overselling left over, and it takes 700 to get to Titan, and your next quota could be like 520 or 530. So you need to remember to oversell. I have actually lost a run on the end of quota 4 because I forgot to sell. I got on the ship, went back into space, and had only 680, even though I had met the quota and I couldn't get back to Titan. You can, in that case, go to Assurance, but it's very slow to do. So, and obviously Assurance has less scrap than Titan. That's the reason we choose to go to Titan, because it is high risk, high reward. So there, the kind shop man opened the gate on his own accord, so I just have to wait for him, and then I can put this down, sell, and then make our way to Titan. Very nice, waiting for me to get the bell there. You might have noticed that I move items toward the end of the ship. It's just so that I can grab them without having to jump back on the ship, make more efficient use of my stamina. And you can see here, we got 196 going into our 4th quota. So that's extremely good. That means we probably have a little over 1/3 of our quota already. Meaning if I want to spend 3 days on Titan here, I could get myself in a really good situation in case down the line we get eclipses on Titan and I have to skip days. So you can see here, 530. I had $134 left over, so if I sold exactly, I would have 664. I need to oversell 36, so I'm going to be keeping that in mind as I go here. So I need, what is it? I think 566 is my actual total that I need. And I already have 196 on the ship, so we're looking for what, 470? Is that right? 370? I think it's 370. That's actually an underrated part of this run, is you are doing a lot of very quick math. You're doing a lot of quick strategy. You're doing a lot of decision making on the fly that needs to be done rapidly, because that is what's going to save you time. If you're thinking way too much about how you're going to use, the scrap and everything that you have, it just bleeds your time out. And that's something that comes with running more frequently. You can see here that going through the fire escape on Titan, you can use both the fire escape and the main entrance instead of just the fire escape. You can see that I found the main entrance already, and I found basically nothing other than a phone. I tried to see if I would have to not jump over the beam, because as I mentioned earlier, I'm not great at jumping over them. But yeah, had to. And then looking at my footage here, I am gonna guess that I got lost. It looks like I was running around a little bit too much there. I want to at least go over and grab this phone. It's a decent value item. And then I should go through the fire escape here and then go back to the main entrance, so we can explore a little bit more. You see, I'm going to drop the item there in case I find 4 things in here. Let's hope we get a little luckier. We got the server room. Server room has a scrap spawner, so some scrap can spawn in here, but it looks like I am not so lucky. This is so far quite a terrible Titan, which is why I have mentioned it is very nice to have a buffer, because if I was to get really unlucky and find very little to nothing here, I at least know that I've gotten myself off to a decent start. But I think here I knew that I was on decent time for myself, and I didn't want to come away with like nothing, so I'm really trying to find something here, just in case, we get an eclipse on day 2 or day 3. But this is a very, very unfortunate structure for Titan. So I think I'm likely just going to take this teeth and this phone and leave, which is quite a terrible haul. I think this is going to be just over like 100 scrap. If you played the game casually, I'm sure you know the jumps I'm taking here. They added more fall damage in one of the patches. So Titan, you used to be able to just completely leap off and be totally fine, but now you got to be a little bit more strategic about where you drop. There is a drop at the bottom further down the stairs where you won't take quite as much fall damage, but didn't need to worry about that because we only had 2 items to take. So I think here we're gonna have about, a little bit over 300. So really we're not doing terrible, especially with the scrap we had before. We only need 202 scrap to meet quota, but we still need that extra 36. So we need 238 to be able to get back to Titan. But I think realistically, usually you're gonna get at least 200 on a Titan run. You can have very good Titan runs where you get 400 to 500, but usually you're gonna be able to at least score 200. So I should be able to score 200, and then hopefully I can get a 3rd day without an eclipse. You could see maybe at the beginning there, I always check the moon to make sure that it's not eclipsed before I decide what I'm gonna do. I could get myself, another good buffer here. So hopefully this is gonna be more friendly, and really, really hoping we don't get a mansion. I know that in casual play, everybody likes the mansion because it's something different, and you're not alone. I also like the mansion. I think it's great. But in speedruns, while it does have great scrap spawners, they're very, very spread out. Your luck in the mansion can be very, very sporadic. So not really ideal for speedrunning. When you get a mansion, unless you really need to explore it, you kind of don't want to. I don't have such a crazy good time that was a consideration for me, but I am definitely glad I didn't get a mansion here. So you can see at the start, I put some scrap outside. I'm gonna jump across here and I find multiple items. I definitely don't want to have a ton of things in my inventory already. I wanna be able to take whatever I can. Got a brass bell here. I can see some bottles over there. Probably gonna grab those. And then if I don't see anything, I will likely head back out. I should mention in terms of optimal speed that you really don't want to, you don't want to take more than 2 big items that fill your hands, because ideally you're only taking 2 full loads. But again, with my time not being, you know, amazing yet, I saw no reason to like leave any scrap on the ground. I guess you do lose more time to take it, but I really at this point was thinking in terms of, I don't want to get myself in a situation where I have to stay for a really long time, have a lot of monsters spawn, maybe get lost. So I think I am going to go back and grab that axle. I think that's what I'm looking for. I think normally if you wanted to be speedy, like the speediest, you would not do this. You would not go grab this axle because again, it's just, you have to carry this thing as an individual load with only 3 other small items. But I already have those bottles, so now I already have 2 big items, and I'll likely find a 3rd. Now you're gonna see there that I dropped the item off. If you drop the item off at an angle at the very end there, it actually is gonna drop all the way down to the little hood that you jump onto when you get down there. And if you can drop it at the right angle, it'll actually drop all the way down onto the snow. So you're gonna see me do that with the other items here as well. Yeah, while I was talking, I could have sworn I had grabbed 2 bottles already. So yeah, you can see I have 3 big items here, but I think I only have like 4 or 5 small items. So I made it so I have to take 3 loads, and that's really not ideal, especially for the value of the axle, which I think is only like 50. Not that that's chump change by any stretch of the mind, but for the extra time it's gonna take for me to come back, it's not ideal. So let's see where everything dropped. Yep, you can see it dropped in the corner right there, so you can hop up here and you can drop things off. I'm definitely not the fastest in the world at it, but it will save me some time because it means I only need to drop off once. If I weren't to do this, I would have to come back up every time to grab these items, but now instead, you'll see here, I'm gonna go on the ship and I'm gonna drop these items down, and then I'm gonna be able to turn around, and instead of going all the way up the stairs, the items are gonna be to the left here, right behind the stairs. So that's quite convenient. This spot right here actually is what I was talking about. If you get the angle right, it'll actually fall all the way down into the snow instead of falling on that ledge, which is super nice because then you don't have to do that little second portion that I did where I was dropping things from the secondary ledge all the way down to here. This is another thing I did that was a little slow. I would drop items off to the left because I wanted to be able to split things up and make decisions about what I was going to use. I found that it would be a little unreliable sometimes when you would have too many items in the same spot, and we're evaluating the scrap. You can see here even 514, so I still need more, but you can see here it wasn't even totally accurate. While I couldn't see the items at the front of the ship, they were being counted in that 644 calculation. But there we go. I needed 566. I got 574, so we only are going to lose 8, which is great. And we still have plenty of a buffer for another, for the next quota. So there's no eclipse here. I think I keep scanning these just to make sure that we are good to go. So now I'm seeing we already have our quota. We already have some additional items for the next quota. And because there's no eclipse, and because I very much could get eclipsed and very unlucky in later portions of the run, I'm gonna go back into Titan again. I have definitely had cases before where 2 out of your 3 days for a single quota have been eclipsed. It is possible to go in and do an eclipse, but it is, I don't wanna say completely RNG. I mean, it definitely, no, it is. Like, I'm definitely not the most skilled monster dodger or anything like that, but yeah, it's definitely, you gotta hope that there aren't dogs already on the stairs. You gotta hope the giant is in a position where he's gonna see you. It's rough. Speaking of not rough, damn, we got some good loot in here. Got ourselves a brass bell. We got ourselves a chalice. We got the painting. We're looking quite nice. So I would say this is pretty ideal. This is like something you're looking for when you go into Titan. You're looking for those 3 small high value items and then 1 big high value item. And then you just want to get out and say, okay, I got these 4. Then you want to come back in and say, okay, let me find another set of 4 items. And that is enough. I don't need any more than that. Let's take this. Let's not be too greedy. So I did see back there, I believe that was a hairdryer, not a whoopee cushion. Whoopee cushion wouldn't be as ideal just because it's very low value item. I think whoopee cushions only tend to be worth like $8 to $20 or something like that. But hair dryers are great. So look at that. Came right back in and immediately found a painting. I think I'm gonna grab that and probably take it to the door because it's very heavy. And we found another painting. So this one, I'm not really sure what like top runner strategy would be. To me, I'm like, okay, we have 2 paintings so close. Why not take both? But it still is a 3rd trip regardless. And it's not, you gotta think it's not only a 3rd trip here, it's also a 3rd trip when you're selling at the scrap dude. So it's a little bit more than it might initially appear. Take a drink of water really quick. So yeah, I can see here now I'm gonna have to take a 3rd trip to the ship. 3rd ship to the trip. But I think it's worth it. It's gonna make it so much better later if I run into any problems, and the amount of runs I'd lost to this point where I got to the 5th or 6th quota and I just had some really unfortunate monster spawns and some really unfortunate you know, weather, the eclipses, or had it stormy where I had to play like time a lot safer. It's just nice to have that buffer. And I think with the paintings and everything, we probably over here have like in the 400 to 500 range already, I would imagine. Paintings tend to be worth like three digits. And I have a lot of high value small items over here as well. Yeah, we're looking at 409, which I think usually the 5th quota is in like the 700-ish range. So we're already more than halfway to the 5th quota, which is huge. We're only a little over 30 minutes into the run. Of course, we still have to sell. But by the time we've sold and we're on our way back to Titan for our 5th quota, we're gonna be in like the 35-minute range. So if we wanna get this to sub 1 hour, to get to the 1,000 mark, to get to the 6th quota, I think it's very feasible. But as I mentioned, now we're gonna need to sell and take quite a lot of big items. That is my bad. But while we do that, I want to talk about, I've talked about run killers. I think the biggest run killer of all for me personally was turrets. Turrets were the bane of my existence. I did over time definitely get a decent skill level to be able to dodge them. Sometimes, man, I feel like there's just nothing you can do. I've had turrets that, just instantly, the moment I walk in the entrance, there's just a turret there already. I've had cases where the shadows, just hit in such a way that it's really either difficult or impossible to see the turret. And you got to take into account too that when you're watching, it might be really obvious, but for me, when you're speedrunning, your eyes are like darting all over the place. You're looking very quickly for items. You're looking very quickly for rooms you can go to get items. So you might not see that so well. Then when I tried to implement jukes, there's turrets that they shoot you so well, even when you juke their line of sight, like you juke into a different room, the turret still knows where you are. I didn't know that was a thing. The turrets also have a very impressive swivel. Like if you're, jumping down, still can, just cut on a dime and get you. And then sometimes they work in cooperation. I'm barely like 30 seconds into the run. I come in here, I dodge one turret, I don't see this one over here, and then it gets me. Turrets were rough, man. But interestingly, we haven't run into a turret thus far. But here we're gonna run into our first eclipse. So right here, this is exactly why playing it safe with me not having a world record competitive time is for the best, because now we have 409 on the ship. I still have hopefully 2 days with us skipping this day entirely. So really no reason to take a risk here. 747 is our quota, so I need what, like I think 338 scrap. That's super, super easy to get in potentially even a single day on Titan. Very, very easy within 2. So instead of taking the risk, we're just gonna go back up, come back down, and really hope that we do not get a second eclipse. Because if we got a second, that would make doing 338 in 1 day, while doable, it can be divisive based on what you find. Imagine we had like that first day we had on Titan where we could only find the phone and the teeth. I would have had to go a lot deeper into the facility, which runs the risk of you getting lost. Some people may be quite good at that, may have that good like spatial awareness. I am not that person. I do not have good spatial awareness whatsoever, so I definitely do not think that would work out well for me, especially the further you go into the facility too, you have to consider on Titan, there's likely monsters already spawned. The more you explore the facility, the more you're giving yourself that chance to be running into monsters. But fortunately, we've been lucky so far in terms of monsters. But once again, our luck is running low. First an Eclipse and now a Mansion, which I mentioned earlier. Mansions really aren't ideal because loot can be so spread out. You can see here I'm doing my best to look around for something. Got a wedding ring and a mask here. So decent start, can't complain. But I know that since I only have 2 days here, I really need to get something out of this mansion more than just, we probably picked up, I don't know, maybe 90 worth of scrap. They said I needed that like 370-ish. So we really want to find a few more things here. We got a wedding ring. Can't see what that was over there, but we do have something. Bottles. Okay, we got one full load right here. Honestly, interested to see what decision Past Demod made here, because we have now, I would say, 150, 175 something scrap, which is half of what we need. So I could totally see, for the sake of time, saying, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna take these 4 items and leave. But I think if I know myself, I think it's at least worth checking the main entrance just to see if we find something within a decent time margin. I probably won't go too deep here, but I'll probably check like just the initial rooms and see, maybe I'll find something. I can see the little light there of something, and hey, it wasn't a fireplace, it was a fancy lamp. So we are rewarded for our little, oh, dude, it scared me now. Hearing that sound, seeing the light, hearing that sound. You know, light could be one of 3 things in here. It could be a fireplace, it could be a fancy lamp, or it could be a turret. And unfortunately, in that case, it was a turret. But hey, I managed to get away from it. I saw the spider web, so I smartly decided not to go into the spider's domain. I have a decent understanding of how the monsters in this work. I believe with the spider has like a zone that it operates within. And if you step in its webs, it instantly knows where you are. So got to be very careful about that. I wanted to check the other side since it's away from where the spider was, would be my guess and my thought process there. I kind of think, watching this in hindsight, I should have just taken the lamp and gone. You know, that's a decent high value item. With the other items we had, we're only probably, I would say, like 50 to 100 away from quota, but hey, at least I'm rewarded a little bit for my extra search. I got a hairdryer out of it. That should put us very near the quota, I would imagine. But now I would definitely say it's time to get out of here, and I think Past Demod agrees, because we really don't want to mess too much with that right side. That spider could very easily end our run, and that is not worth it whatsoever at this point. You can see there that it looks like the items actually did drop all the way to the ground. I do believe it's based on like the angle that you're at. The technical stuff is a little bit lost on me. I definitely was a follow the leader thing when it came to this run. I just watched a handful of runs and saw how they did it, and I was like, all right, I think I could do that. I think I do love that about this run. This is a very approachable run. I definitely think this is something you could just watch my run and then instantly go try for yourself. Really, all you need to know is that you go to Assurance, you take that skip to get into the emergency exit, and then you go to Titan after doing 3 Assurance runs. I did find these runs very fun to do as well because of the RNG element. RNG can be, you know, frustrating in speedruns, but in this one I found it to be really exciting. It made every run very different, and I liked that compared to something like Sekiro, for example, which is very, of course, there's a lot of, you know, strategy involved. There's a lot of, you know, game knowledge, but there's a very high level of skill and dexterity that you need to be able to execute the strategies there. Whereas here, there definitely is some, you know, in tight movement and being able to pull off certain tech, things like that. There definitely is some element of skill in terms of dexterity, but I find this to be a much more cerebral run. There's so much more strategy, decision making. There is a lot of game knowledge and, you know, how much each item is worth. Every piece of scrap has a maximum and minimum range. Every quota has a minimum and maximum range that it can be. And also just making decisions quickly based on knowing what you already have. Like, okay, I already have full quota on the ship. Do I need much more to get out of this place? No, I don't really. But hey, I just walked in the room and we got a legit ass loot room, man. We got 5 things right off the bat. Now, knowing that I have full quota, I probably could just say, hey, those items that I just dropped, probably worth like 250. That is 250 onto our next quota. That's probably enough. Me, I'm a greedy Gus. I say, I got a magnifying glass in there. Forget that. I'm going in and getting it. But hey, I'm at least smart. And I saw, okay, we got a dank dark hallway here. Not going in it, not engaging with that. Absolutely not. So I'm probably going to check the main entrance here, see if we get anything pretty quickly, and then make it look quite pretty for our last run into that quota. So we got a landmine there. Definitely don't want to pick that up. Don't want to stand on that. I think there actually was a, oh my God, speaking of turrets, I was about to mention a turret. There was a run where the run had just started. I walked in and instantly saw a turret and a landmine, and I was just like, you know what? Not even. I just stepped on the landmine, took a hop up, and said, hit the reset button, man. I do need to be careful here because, as you can see, it is stormy. I'm being careful because I do have that tea kettle, and I'm panicking here, trying to drop it. Would hate to lose the run to lightning. This is one of those things where I kind of regret, you know, the tea kettle is probably worth like 40 bucks, and I spent so much time getting an extra 5th item when I could have just left that tea kettle and probably saved myself a lot of trouble. Okay, 43, decent value tea kettle. I at least respect that. But looking in hindsight, this extra magnifying glass cost me a lot of time, and being greedy enough to go into the main entrance when there was a turret right there and not really much else to explore. I definitely see in hindsight where I could shave, you know, some time off this run, being, again, more strategic, making better decisions. That said, I think I was making the right decisions overall here because I know you can't see my previous PB, so I said I completed 2 total runs. My previous PB was like an hour, close to like an hour and 10 minutes. It was pretty long. Maybe it was like an hour 5. Pretty far away from sub 1 hour, and it was a very sloppy run where I knew things could be better. So I didn't need to be the sharpest tool in the shed. I didn't need to make the best decisions all the time, and I could afford to take a little bit of risks and still reach that sub 1 hour. The world record for this category, I think, is 38 minutes, which is extremely impressive. Not only in terms of how many runs it must have taken them to get the luck involved, but to have, again, that game knowledge, that that strategy where they made all the best decisions, which you can see as I'm piling up. I think I have 5 large items here, so I need to make at least 5 trips here. Maybe not the best decision making on my part, but alternatively, consider loot. Tons of it. And I have it. I'm happy about that. Because, again, that means we only have 1 more quota to deal with. We're at 42 minutes. If I want to get sub 1 hour, I think if we're at 42 minutes right now, we're probably going to be pulling the lever to go to Titan around like 44 minutes. I got 16 minutes to do 3 runs on Titan and to come back and sell. And hey, I may not even have to do 3 days on Titan. I could totally end up getting so much loot that I can just skip 1 day entirely. Wouldn't that be nice? So I'm really wondering if this last trek to Titan, though, we're going to see more monsters. We really haven't had to deal with monsters whatsoever. I have to say that's an interesting thing about the run is outside of Titan being a little bit troll sometimes, or eclipses that you have to engage with, you really don't see that many monsters. The one I think I would see the most was the Bracken. I think the Bracken appeared pretty frequently for me on Titan, and he would jump scare me quite a bit, especially early on when I wasn't used to looking for him, because I'd be, you know, minding my own business. I'd be moving around quickly, looking for loot, and then all of a sudden, the Bracken would just be right behind me, and you'd hear that little, like, I don't know, you'd call it like purr almost of him being behind you, and like the sort of like tentacles, like, ugh. I don't like it, man. So I don't know if I ever scanned the stuff I had there, but I would imagine I have like 250 worth of scrap there. So if we're at 950, we need 700 over 3 days. It's, again, quite easy. Like 200 is very, very easy to get from Titan. So we are looking pretty. Also, I apologize if I'm speaking a mile a minute. It's been a while since I've done one of these commentary runs, and I feel like I have so much to say, and there's a decent bit of downtime, but at the same time, like, this run feels like it's going by so quickly. We're already on the 6th quota, and we're 44 minutes in. I was pretty on point there. I said pull the lever, but we touched down on Titan at 44 minutes, so we got time here. And we have a little bit over 200 something on the ship, so I think we need 700 about, like I said. So if we can get 2 really fortunate days at 350, then, you know, we're scooting right along. So let's see what we get here. Hopefully no mansion. Hey, dude, holy. Oh, man. Okay, I'm elated watching this. When I got this in the run, I must have been like, dude, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. Fuck, man. Okay, well, that's obviously a really good start. Can't argue with that at all. Drop it all down, and then I imagine I'm gonna go back. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the fire escape here because I didn't even really look like what was beyond the room, but apparently there's more in the room. So we got another good loot room. We got a water heater there, so we don't like to see that, but got a clown horn, honky, and I got bottles, so can't complain. We've already got 6 pieces of loot, and I haven't even gone in the main entrance, and it's only 9:30, so we are looking quite nice. So I would say right here, red soda, bruh. I would say right here, let's see if we can find 2 small items real quick, and then let's just take the 2 loads, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. It's like we're the same person. Holy shit. All right, we're looking pretty good. I think we probably pulled like, I would say close to 400, honestly. I have to imagine. Looking at the values on the side, that was a pretty low value red soda, but still, most of these small items are pulling like 70 each, and then a fancy lamp's gonna be worth like 100, you would think. So yeah, I would say we probably pulled like 400. And with what we have on the ship, that would put us in like the 650, 700 range already. So we're looking real good. We are looking pretty nice. I wanna see, let me see. 475. 475 and 288. So we're what? That's 775 minus 12 is 763. Yeah, dude. Holy. That was only a 1400 Titan, which I think is like slightly on the lower end. And we found like 500 so quickly. That just shows you what the RNG can be like in this game. Imagine you speedran long enough that those were the rooms you got like every time. That was the luck you got every single time you dropped down. That would be insane. Now, we thank our lucky stars because this game is so quick to give and then take away. We got an Eclipse, but to be honest with you, because we're approaching already 700 scrap, we really only need like another 300 day. I really don't need 3 days anymore. I can easily, with even a reasonable amount of luck, get everything we need from a single day. So in all likelihood, I was gonna skip the final day regardless. I was just gonna touch down, go back up, and then sell at the company. So we're at 47 minutes, and now everything is riding on a single day. And that was I said 1400 was bad. That was below 1200. Get out of here. You want me to walk through an Eclipse for that? Absolutely not. Well, all comes down to this. One day, I guess this is the nature of YouTube over streaming is, streaming, we would all be, you know, on the edge of our seats, like, is he gonna get it? And unless I really bamboozled and clickbaited you, I'm probably gonna get it, but you never know. You never know. I think it's foggy here. Looks like it is. Sometimes Titan looks foggy to me at the bottom, even when it's not foggy, but I'm pretty sure it's foggy. Of course, Titan isn't really bad to get foggy on because you're instantly going high up in the air and you don't spend too much time on the outside of the facility. Dine and Rend would be significantly more annoying for it to be foggy on. Ooh, we got a mansion though. So we do have a final little hurdle to climb. We already found bottles, so I think we're looking for about 250. So bottles covers about 50 of that most likely. Didn't see what the value on them was. Got a large axle, which, you know, now that I see this large axle, I do actually, it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. I remember what I did in the end of this. So, you know how I mentioned you really don't want to be like taking those big items, like taking too many of those big items because they're a time loss. Well, you know, you got to do what you got to do, man. You know, you're on the final day. You get a mansion. You're not finding much scrap. You got to take what you get. And if that's big fat items, then by God, that's big fat items. But hey, we got a mask. We got a rubber ducky. We got something that I just forgot because I'm blabbing and yapping. But we got a V-type engine. So now we already have 3 big items out of, I believe, we have only found 6 items. Yeah, we found the V-type engine, the 3 small items that I have, and then we found the axle and the bottles. The axle I think I already took and put outside the facility. The bottles I can see the right there. We'll come back in and grab those after dropping off these items. It looks like I decided to go all the way to drop these down. And then I didn't go whole hog and drop them all the way. Okay, it's because I wanted to see what the value was. I'm seeing what the value of the axle is as well. I think the decision I'm trying to make here is, do I already have enough? 228, and then these bottles should be, they should be worth about 50. So I think 52. Yeah, I think I have it. I think it's close, but I think I have it. I do. I think we're at about 1,000. So that would be the most beautiful thing. Wow. Turrets, man. Turrets, am I right? You know, that would be a beautiful thing because getting a quota, on 6 quota, getting 1,000 quota is total RNG. I think the average quota actually is in like the 950 to 970 range. So you actually have to get a little bit above the average to get 1,000 quota. But it would be a beautiful thing if we reached over 1,000, if we had found over 1,000 in scrap. And then of course, when we turn in the 6 quota, we're gonna get like a 1,200, 1,300 quota after that. So we're gonna hit that 1,000. We're gonna hit it. We're just gonna have to drop off like 70 giant items to be able to do it. Also, I apologize if my mic is peaked a few times. I think I can hear it. I think it's peaked maybe 3 or 4 times. I'm using a different microphone than I normally use, and if it's echoey as well, my wife and I recently got a house, which is very exciting. But my office is currently extremely empty because houses are expensive, and it's gonna be empty for a while. But I'm working on my recording studio at the moment, and my recording studio, by that I mean my closet. Fun fact, I record in the closet, and I bought some moving blankets to nail to the wall to dampen it. But in the meantime, I have to deal with a little bit of echo. I apologize. Hopefully that was an interesting segue to cut some of the tension. Surely I have enough. I think I have probably like 970, 980, 957, right around the average. Looking pretty good. It's funny to see I'm at 51 minutes, almost 52. I'm wondering how long it's gonna take me to sell all this stuff. I got 4, 5, 6. I think I have 6 big items. I have a lot of small items too. I mean, fair enough. When you're at the point where you're needing to reach 1,000, you are gonna have quite a few items. Now we just gotta sell it all. And I wish I was a little bit more efficient about how I placed everything, but I think I was so concerned about like being able to properly view the value of everything that I didn't really care exactly where I was able to put it. I do choose to ring the bell here, and he is very troll and doesn't open for a while because you can only fit so many items on there, I believe. So I wanted to call him early, and then I think I should be able to fit the rest of everything that I have. And I think we still need to make 3 more trips, 2 or 3. All right, 473. Remember, we're trying to reach 957. So 27, that's what, 84. I need 484, I think. I think that math is right. For the record, I'm decent at mental math, but I did have, there's a very nice spreadsheet that came from the speedrun.com I think it was either the forum or the Discord. So shout out to the person who made that sheet. You could actually input like what you had, and it would tell you like percentage wise on what day you could sell at how much, which is where I got a lot of the information that I'm describing. But no reason to hang around. We sold all the scrap. I'm scanning just to make sure, but I think we got it, man. I think we got it. Let's see. Yeah! I just got over 1,000, 1,005. So in under an hour, we're gonna stop the time here soon. I think it's gonna be sub 54. In under an hour, solo, we managed to get to 1,000 quota. And I'm gonna be real with you. I feel pretty excited about it because, like I said, I was a little scuffed at this game in team play. So I'm hoping after this, I'm gonna be able to play with my friends and, you know, put some respect on my name and put some respect on the company. Be able to get a lot more scrap and loot for the haul. But hey, I want to thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this more relaxed commentary style. I know I'm talking a mile a minute, so hopefully it was relaxing. But yeah, I love Lethal Company. It's fun. I know the like big hype for Lethal Company is already passed, but I wanted to give it a shot. I wanted to give the speedrun a shot and you know, build a little more skills so I could be a great asset. Thank you all for being great assets and watching. I appreciate you. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in the next video.